High above the earth stands Mount Olympus, where clouds drift like silver rivers and the stars seem close enough to touch. For ages, mortals have gazed upward, dreaming of the secrets hidden in the gods' shining halls. At the heart of Olympus burns a flame, not ordinary fire, but a living light, soft and eternal. The flame of Olympus glows with wisdom, harmony, and the spirit of creation itself. Some say it was born with the first dawn, when sunlight kissed the newborn earth. Others whisper it is the heartbeat of the heavens, pulsing gently through sky and time. But even the brightest flame can flicker, and whispers spread that its glow begins to fade. The gods wonder if power alone can keep its light alive, or if something more is needed. Zeus, Lord of Thunder, believes strength will guard Olympus until he hears the flame's quiet song. A truth greater than thunder waits for him, hidden in the flame's radiant whisper. So lean closer, traveler, and listen well. Tonight, you will hear the tale of Zeus and the flame of Olympus. In the heart of Olympus lies a hidden chamber, beyond golden gates and marble columns. Inside burns the flame of Olympus, glowing not with heat, but with a sunrise that never ends. Its sparks rise like stars, drifting softly into the air, leaving no shadow, only light. The gods believe it is older than themselves, born before memory or time. Some whisper it came with the first dawn, when earth and sky first learned to breathe together. Others say it has no beginning, no ending, only presence, a truth, always shining. For mortals, the flame is a symbol of hope, a light imagined in temples and prayers. Poets call it a heart in the heavens, beating softly for all who dream of peace. Sailors trust its glow when storms rise, believing it will guide them home again. But in Olympus, the flame is more than a symbol. It is alive. It is listening. Those who enter hear a sound. Not words, not song, but a murmur deeper than thought. Some days it hums with joy. Its glow steady and full, brighter than morning. Other days it sighs, flickering gently, as though weary under unseen weight. The gods know this rhythm well. Harmony makes it strong. Discord makes it fade. Zeus, Lord of Thunder, often visits this chamber in silence, leaving his throne behind. Here, his storms cannot command. His power cannot force the flame to shine brighter. Its glow is untouched by might, yet deeply tied to purpose and balance. One evening, as the sun set, Zeus walked alone to stand before its light. The flame flickered, long and slow, as if aware of his presence in the quiet hall. He listened, and the whisper touched not his ears, but the depths of his heart. He remembered mortal prayers, a farmer asking for rain, a mother for her child, a poet yearning for inspiration, a sailor hoping for safe return. All those voices rose like threads of smoke, weaving themselves into the flame. Zeus wondered if the flame was not only divine, but also mortal, shared by all. He stepped closer. Its warmth was calm, steady, carrying invitation instead of fear. The other gods debated its mystery, wisdom, beauty, curiosity. Each had their answer. Athena saw knowledge. Apollo heard harmony. Hermes laughed and called it exploration. But Zeus felt something greater: balance, strength and gentleness, power and compassion. The flame whispered of opposites joined, unbreakable when held together in harmony. Far below, mortals lived their lives, unaware their laughter echoed in this light. Every story by fire, every song in the fields, every kindness rose upward. The chamber breathed with these gifts, weaving heaven and earth into one rhythm. The eternal flame burned on not by command, but by connection. It reminded all who listened. The greatest power lies not in holding, but in sharing. The chamber of the flame was silent, but outside, Olympus filled with voices and unrest. The gods had seen the flame flicker. They felt its dim glow and called for a council. In the great hall, marble pillars gleamed, and golden thrones waited beneath a sky-painted dome. Athena spoke first, her voice calm and clear. Wisdom keeps the flame alive, and we have strayed. Apollo leaned forward, golden hair shining, his words flowing like music. The flame is harmony, he said. It fades when discord drowns beauty. balance must return. Hermes laughed softly, his tone quick and playful, his words dancing like sparks. "The flame is curiosity," he said. "It dims when rules grow heavy. Mortals laugh, explore, and feed it." Poseidon struck his trident on stone, the echo rolling like a crashing wave. "The flame is strength," he declared. "Mortals pray to power. Storms and tides protect them, not softness." Zeus rose, the hall falling silent. His presence was like a mountain rising from the sea. "Perhaps Poseidon speaks true," Zeus said. "Have we not ruled by thunder, by command?" He lifted his hand, thunder answering faintly. "Strength guards the heavens. Without it, the flame may fall." Athena met his gaze, steady and unafraid. "Father, strength guards, but it cannot sustain. A flame grows brighter when it is cared for, when its light is shared." Apollo strummed his lyre, a single note lingering in the air like sunlight on water. "The flame does not answer thunder," he said. "It answers harmony. Power may guard, but beauty makes it sing." Hermes smiled slyly. "If strength alone was enough, why does the flame flicker even under your watch, Zeus?" The words lingered. Zeus frowned, not with anger, but with thought. He remembered the whisper of the flame, its warmth inviting rather than demanding fear. Could thunder alone be the answer? Or was command too shallow to feed eternal light? The gods debated long, voices rising and falling like restless waves on the shore. Some demanded more power. Others spoke for balance, unity, and gentler ways. Far below, mortals laughed, sang, and dreamed, their lives unknowingly feeding the flame. Every prayer, every song, every kindness sent sparks rising toward Olympus. But still, the question burned among the gods. Was power enough? When the council ended, Zeus returned alone to the chamber of the flame. He stood before its glow, heavy with doubt, his heart unsettled. The flame flickered, then steadied, as though waiting for him to understand. And Zeus whispered the question he had never spoken aloud. "If not strength, then what keeps the light alive?" The flame glowed softly, giving no answer, only holding its secret in silence. And so the question lingered, fragile and bright, like the flame itself. While the gods debated in golden halls, the mortal world carried on, each life moving to its own rhythm. Though mortals could not see the flame of Olympus, they felt its echo deep within their hearts. Their voices rose in prayer, carried on wind and song, weaving invisible threads toward the sky. Some voices were strong, spoken with confidence. Others were whispers, hidden in night. Together they formed a chorus, a living tapestry of human longing. In a village, a farmer stood in his cracked field and lifted his hands. "Send rain," he pleaded. "Let the seeds awaken. Let life return to the earth." Far across the sea, a sailor leaned against his ship as dark clouds gathered. "Guide us home," he whispered. "Let stars shine clear. Let waters carry us safely." In another land, a mother bent over her sleeping child, whispering softly, "Protect this little one. Let dreams be gentle. Let his days be many." And in a city, a poet gazed at the night sky with longing. "Grant me inspiration," he murmured. "Let beauty find me, so I may sing of unseen things." Each prayer rose upward, sparks invisible to mortals, but glowing as they reached Olympus. The flame of Olympus received them all, weaving them into its radiant light. The gods rarely thought of this truth, lost in their debates of wisdom and power. But the flame remembered. It always listened, carrying the voices of mortals within its glow. In the chamber, Zeus lingered, heavy with the council's unanswered questions. As he stood, the flame whispered with the rhythm of mortal prayers rising. He felt the farmer's hope for rain, steady as soil beneath the sky. He felt the sailor's plea for safe passage, flowing like waves across the sea. He felt the mother's love for her child, warm and protective as firelight. He felt the poet's yearning for beauty, light as a song drifting through silence. Zeus closed his eyes, hearing not words, but the harmony of countless voices. It was not thunder that filled them, but fragile yearning rising like dawn mist. The flame pulsed brighter, not from Zeus's power, but from mortal gifts below. And Zeus realized the flame was not Olympus's treasure alone. It was a bridge, a shared light between heaven and earth. He opened his eyes, humbled, as the whispers still rose around him. They were not loud, not grand, but they were true. For all his storms, Zeus had never created a song as deep as this. The flame's strength was not power or beauty alone, but union. It was the voices of mortals and gods, woven together in one eternal glow. And so the question shifted. The flame was kept alive not only by strength, it needed guardianship and presence, not just command. It needed mortals as much as gods. The voices rose, endless and steady, filling Olympus with unseen light. The flame of Olympus glowed brighter, as if smiling on heaven and earth alike. High on Olympus's slopes, clouds drifted like silver veils, and a lone figure moved quietly. Prometheus walked apart, watching both gods and mortals with equal care. Among the immortals, he was known as the Firebringer, the giver of light. He had once carried flame to mortals, gifting warmth, craft, and life. Some honored him, some questioned him, but he never regretted his gift. He loved to see this spark of creativity glowing in human eyes. In council, Prometheus listened as gods argued of wisdom, harmony, and strength. He saw Zeus heavy with command, yet uncertain of its truth. But Prometheus felt something deeper, unspoken, beyond thrones and power. He had walked among mortals, unseen, learning the quiet flame they carried. He saw a child shape clay into a toy, laughing with delight. He saw an old woman weaving, humming joy into every thread. He saw friends sharing bread and stories by the glow of a fire, and he understood. This too was flame, curiosity, warmth, and hope. One night, Prometheus entered the chamber of the eternal flame. The room was silent, shadows flickering softly on marble walls. The flame swayed gently, as if waiting to hear his words. Prometheus bowed his head. "You are not only ours," he whispered. "You belong to mortals as much as to gods. You live because they dream." The flame flickered brightly, as though it answered yes. From his cloak, Prometheus drew a secret ember, glowing like a heart. It was no ordinary spark, but a fragment of the eternal flame. He had carried it through storms, through ages, through silence. Not defiance, but devotion, a gift saved for the right time. He held it close, whispering softly, "This is not for thrones or crowns, it is for the people below, for laughter, for love, for meaning in the ordinary. As long as they dream, this flame will live." Visions shimmered in the ember's glow. Children running beneath starlight, artists painting with colors on rough stone, singers raising voices that echoed through valleys, families passing stories around a warm hearth. Each vision simple, yet each stronger than thunder. The next morning, Zeus found Prometheus in the chamber. In his hand the ember glowed, steady and pure. "What is this?" Zeus asked, voice heavy with wonder. Prometheus met his eyes, calm and clear. "It is a reminder," he said. "The flame belongs to mortals too. You cannot guard it with strength alone. You must let it live." Zeus frowned, thoughtful, seeing mortal lives reflected in the ember's glow. The thunder within him grew quiet, listening. Behind them, the eternal flame pulsed brighter, as if approving. Its golden light wrapped them both in warmth. Zeus touched the ember gently, not with power, but with care. It answered with brighter light, fed by understanding. Prometheus smiled, for the gift was finally seen. The flame belonged to both worlds, Olympus and Earth. It was no treasure, no weapon, no throne. It was life itself, and it would endure, as long as it was shared. Golden light filled Olympus. Yet Hera's heart was not at peace. She had watched Zeus wrestle with truth, and Prometheus speak of mortals. Her face was calm, but inside, questions weighed heavily. For Hera, order bound heaven and earth together. Without it, vows broke, homes fell, and chaos spread. Now she wondered, if the flame belonged to mortals, what did that mean? That night, she walked alone through moonlit gardens of Olympus. Lilies scented the air, Marble paths gleamed in silver light. Mortals, she whispered, so fleeting, so fragile. Can they sustain the flame? She remembered prayers, rising from earth. Brides, mothers, kings. They had called her name with steady hope and hidden fear. Her doubt came not from disdain, but from care. She feared mortal hearts were too weak, too short-lived. Would they forget? Would they falter when storms came? Wings stirred the air. Iris, radiant messenger, appeared before her. "My queen," Iris said gently, "you walk heavy with thought." Hera's eyes were calm, yet troubled. "Tell me, Iris," she asked, "can mortals guard what even gods struggle to keep alive?" Iris smiled, her voice as bright as dawn's first light. "They are fragile, yes. But in fragility lies strength. They rise after falling. They love though they may lose. They hope in shadow." Still, Hera's heart was unsettled. She turned to earth below. Villages glimmered like sparks scattered across the night. "Look," Iris said, pointing down with gentle hand. "There, a family gathers by fire, their laughter glowing. There, a singer lifts her voice, weaving joy into the square. There, a traveler shares bread with a stranger, kindness freely given." Hera's gaze softened at the simple scenes of mortal life. She sighed, voice low. "I have always guarded bonds, vows, homes. But bonds break, homes fall, families scatter to the wind." Iris bowed. "Yes, my queen. But mortals rebuild. They vow again. They love again. Is this not what keeps the flame alive?" Hera stood silent, cautious, yet moved by the truth. She had seen quarrels, betrayals, and forgetfulness in mortal hearts. But she also saw persistence, the return to hope. The wind carried faint mortal voices upward into the night. Prayers rose like music, not grand, not perfect, but steady. Hera closed her eyes, listening to the fragile resilience. Perhaps the flame rested not in immortal power alone. Perhaps it lived in mortals' courage to begin again. She opened her eyes. The moon shone clear and unwavering. Her doubts remained, yet softened, reshaped by what she had seen. She turned back toward the golden halls of Olympus. Zeus awaited answers. The gods awaited unity. And Hera carried a new thought within her heart. Maybe the flame endured not because it was guarded perfectly. Maybe it endured because it was shared, even with hearts that could break. The eternal flame flickered in its chamber as if it knew. And far below, laughter and love continued to rise from the earth. Their sparks fed Olympus's light in ways even Hera could not deny. Golden light filled Olympus. Yet Hera's heart was not at peace. She had watched Zeus wrestle with truth, and Prometheus speak of mortals. Her face was calm, but inside, questions weighed heavily. For Hera, order bound heaven and earth together. Without it, vows broke, homes fell, and chaos spread. Now she wondered, if the flame belonged to mortals, what did that mean? That night, she walked alone through moonlit gardens of Olympus. Lilies scented the air. Marble paths gleamed in silver light. "Mortals," she whispered, "so fleeting, so fragile. Can they sustain the flame?" She remembered prayers rising from earth. Brides, mothers, kings. They had called her name with steady hope and hidden fear. Her doubt came not from disdain, but from care. She feared mortal hearts were too weak, too short-lived. Would they forget? Would they falter when storms came? Wings stirred the air. Iris, radiant messenger, appeared before her. "My queen," Iris said gently, "you walk heavy with thought." Hera's eyes were calm, yet troubled. "Tell me, Iris," she asked, "can mortals guard what even gods struggle to keep alive?" Iris smiled, her voice as bright as dawn's first light. "They are fragile, yes, but in fragility lies strength. They rise after falling. They love though they may lose. They hope in shadow." Still, Hera's heart was unsettled. She turned to earth below. Villages glimmered like sparks scattered across the night. "Look," Iris said, pointing down with gentle hand. "There, a family gathers by fire, their laughter glowing. There, a singer lifts her voice, weaving joy into the square. There, a traveler shares bread with a stranger, kindness freely given. Hera's gaze softened at the simple scenes of mortal life. She sighed, voice low. I have always guarded bonds, vows, homes. But bonds break, homes fall, families scattered to the wind. Iris bowed. Yes, my queen. But mortals rebuild. They vow again. They love again. Is this not what keeps the flame alive? Hera stood silent, cautious, yet moved by the truth. She had seen quarrels, betrayals, and forgetfulness in mortal hearts. But she also saw persistence, the return to hope. The wind carried faint mortal voices upward into the night. Prayers rose like music. Not grand, not perfect, but steady. Hera closed her eyes, listening to the fragile resilience. Perhaps the flame rested not in immortal power alone. Perhaps it lived in mortals' courage to begin again. She opened her eyes. The moon shone clear and unwavering. Her doubts remained, yet softened, reshaped by what she had seen. She turned back toward the golden halls of Olympus. Zeus awaited answers. The gods awaited unity. And Hera carried a new thought within her heart. Maybe the flame endured not because it was guarded perfectly. Maybe it endured because it was shared, even with hearts that could break. The eternal flame flickered in its chamber as if it knew. And far below, laughter and love continued to rise from the earth. Their sparks fed Olympus's light, in ways even Hera could not deny. Olympus glowed in dawn's light, marble halls painted with gold. The gods carried questions heavy in their hearts. Among them was Athena, calm-eyed, goddess of wisdom and counsel. She had listened in silence through the debates of Olympus. Prometheus, Hera, Hermes, even Zeus had spoken their truths. Athena wove their words together quietly, seeking meaning in all. Wisdom, she knew, was not quick judgment or mighty strength. It was listening, shaping truth from many voices. That morning, Athena walked to a quiet olive grove. Here, in silver light, the air was still and thoughtful. Among trees and birdsong, she could shape her counsel. Her thoughts drifted between two worlds, gods and mortals. Gods sought permanence. Mortals lived with change. And in change, she saw the flame's true meaning. She recalled cities rising, falling, then rising again. Temples crumbled, yet children's voices carried prayers anew. From change came renewal. From loss came courage. She touched the roots of an olive tree, old and strong. New shoots grew from rough bark, proof of endurance. The flame must endure this way, she whispered softly. Not in walls unbroken, but in hearts that begin again. Nike, spirit of victory, appeared with a soft bow. My lady, she asked, will you speak to the gods? Athena smiled gently. Not yet. Wisdom must ripen first. She wandered among mortals, clothed in quiet disguise. She sat with a teacher, guiding children with patience. She listened to craftsmen shaping wood with steady hands. She watched women weaving cloth, threads crossing into strength. Everywhere she saw echoes of the flame, not grand, but steady, carried in skill and persistence. Fragile acts, forming a strength no storm could erase. At last, Athena returned to the council hall. The gods argued, voices heavy with unrest. Zeus raised his hand, summoning silence in the chamber. Athena, he said, you have been quiet. Speak now. The hall stilled as she stepped forward. Her voice was calm, her presence clear as water. My kin, she said, we speak wrongly of the flame. It is not ours to bind, nor theirs to borrow. The flame is not possession, it is responsibility. Prometheus gave a spark, yes, but mortals tended it. They falter, yet they rise. They fail, yet they learn. Their lives are brief, but their knowledge endures. She held up an olive branch, green and living. This branch grows not by resisting change, but by renewal. So too does the flame endure, not in perfection, but in renewal. The gods listened, stirred by her clarity. Hera lowered her gaze, her doubts softening in thought. Hermes smiled faintly, seeing his truth reflected. Zeus leaned forward, eyes fixed on his daughter. And what do you counsel, Athena? he asked. That we do not guard the flame by keeping it distant. We guard it by guiding mortals to tend it wisely. Let us be not keepers only, but teachers of light. Let us share wisdom, so their flame burns steadier. Her words fell like gentle rain across the hall. Not thunder, not command, but clarity. The eternal flame flickered softly, as if in agreement. It too knew. Wisdom lies not in holding tight. Wisdom lies in letting light be shared and renewed. Beneath Olympus, the sea stirred with restless thought. Poseidon felt the gods' debate ripple through his waters. The flame of Olympus touched even the deepest tides. Its whispers carried voices of mortals burning brighter. But Poseidon did not easily give his heart. He was waves and storms, torn between calm and fury. And in his depths, a storm began to rise. He looked at mortals with eyes both stern and kind. Their ships dared his waves. Their cities touched his shores. They trusted his waters, yet feared his power. Now with fire, what would they become? Would they grow in balance or drown in pride? Poseidon walked the shore in humble disguise. Sand shifted beneath his feet. Waves licked at his ankles. He listened not to gods, but to men. He saw fishermen casting nets with steady arms. They trusted the sea's gift and mystery each day. He watched children build castles, laughing as waves erased them. There was no anger, only joy in beginning again. In cities, he saw flames glow in homes and streets. Not wild, but steady, warming, and guiding lives. He stood among them, unseen, and felt their fire. It did not fight his waves. It lived beside them. The storm inside him softened, though not gone, for storms belonged to him, as calm seas do. He knew mortals could be reckless and blind. Yet he saw they could learn and endure. He lifted his gaze to the horizon. The flame danced upon the waves, not against them. When he returned, Olympus awaited his voice. Zeus asked, "Brother, what does the sea tell you?" Poseidon's eyes glimmered with depth and truth. The sea teaches all flows between calm and storm. Mortals are waves rising, breaking, and returning. The flame may burn too bright, like swelling waves, but it may also warm, like tides bearing food. If we guide them, balance will endure. If we leave them, hunger may drown them. The hall grew silent at his words. He did not demand, only spoke the sea's truth. The flame flickered gently, glowing in his ocean eyes. Olympus understood sea and fire could not be bound. They must be respected, lived with, and shared. Poseidon's storm found its place beside the calm. His voice joined theirs, steady and sure. The flame was no longer about power. It had become a lesson in balance. High above Olympus, Apollo stood with his lyre. The sun crowned him in golden brilliance. Yet that day, his music was silent. He had heard Zeus, Hera, Hermes, Athena, and Poseidon. Each voice was true, yet something was missing. The flame was not just power or balance. It was a melody waiting to be heard. Mortals did not live by bread and fire alone. They lived by song, by story, by beauty. Without light in the heart, flame could fade. Apollo walked among mortals in disguise. He carried no crown, only his lyre. Where he went, he brought music. In one village, he played for children. The hearth flickered in rhythm to his song. Their laughter rose like morning birds. In another, he sang to weary workers. Lantern flames glowed brighter with his voice. Their burdens lightened, carried by melody. He visited cities of scholars and builders. He played not to answer, but to inspire. The flame warmed their souls as much as hands. Apollo saw mortals shaping meaning from sound. They painted with words, carved with rhythm. The flame gave life. Music gave hope. Returning to Olympus, he carried mortal voices. The council awaited. The flame burned steady. Zeus asked, "Apollo, what does your wisdom bring?" Apollo answered first with music. One note lingered like dawn's first ray. The gods stilled. The flame seemed to listen. And in silence, Apollo spoke. "You see flame as power, as balance. But it is also song. It carries mortals through sorrow into joy." He looked to Hera. Without joy, doubt grows. He looked to Poseidon. Without beauty, storms remain. He looked to Zeus. Without hope, thunder weakens. The flame is not only survival. It inspires art, song, and dreams of tomorrow. It turns struggle into story, work into celebration. He strummed his lyre again. A melody spread like golden light. The gods felt it, endless as horizon. The flame glowed in harmony with the tune, not fierce, but radiant and true. Power alone cannot sustain the heart. Beauty must join it. The council sat in silence. They listened as mortals would. The final note faded into stillness. Apollo lowered his lyre. The flame is not only ours to guard. It is a song we share, a light that endures because it inspires. The gods bowed their heads, not commanded, but moved in harmony. Olympus felt united in light and song. Apollo's music became part of the flame. Its melody echoed through generations, carried in voices, in instruments, in hearts that hoped. Night fell over Olympus, stars glowing like sparks across the velvet sky. The council had spoken, yet one voice still waited in silence. Artemis rose, silver bow resting on her shoulder. Her eyes reflected the flame, calm and steady as the moon. You spoke of power, wisdom, storms, and song, she said. But the flame also lives in shadows. Mortals fear the night, yet in darkness the flame endures. She told of campfires in forests beneath the stars, families huddled close, children listening, hunters finding their path. The flame was not only warmth, it was courage. The night is not emptiness, Artemis continued. It is a canvas where shadows dance and stars shine brighter. Without darkness, light cannot prove its worth. Apollo listened, his sun-crowned heart learning of balance. Artemis spoke of lonely travelers with lanterns on their way, of shepherds guarding flocks under starlight, of mothers soothing children by the glow of embers. The flame tells them, she whispered, you are not alone. The flame flickered, shadows shifting alive on the walls. She turned to Zeus. Thunder fades, but fear remains in night. She turned to Hera. A hearth needs light in the dark. To Athena. Wisdom guides only if the path can be seen. To Poseidon. Sailors trust flames on distant shores to return home. To Apollo. Music warms the day, but flame steadies the night. Her words silenced even Hermes, restless as ever. The flame glowed silver, like moonlight bound with fire. Artemis stepped back, her voice soft yet unshaken. The flame is constancy. The promised light will remain. Guard not only its brilliance, but its endurance. For mortals need both day and night, sun and moon. The gods bowed their heads, touched by her wisdom. The eternal flame burned brighter, uniting light and shadow. Day and night joined in one enduring fire. The council had grown with each voice, yet one god was silent. Hephaestus sat quietly, his strong hands scarred by fire and labor. His face bore marks of craft, not perfect, but enduring. When silence came, he rose slowly, step uneven but steady. In his hand was a simple hammer, darkened by years of flame. My brothers and sisters, he said, his voice low and steady. You have seen the flame as power, balance, song, and shadow. But the flame also lives in work. It is shaped by hands, tested by effort, strengthened by unity. He spoke of forges where fire bent metal into tools and art, of mortals at hearths, baking bread, firing clay, lighting lamps. The flame is the partner of labor, he said. It asks for sweat, patience, and persistence. It does not give without asking something in return. He told of blacksmiths working long beside glowing coals, of potters trusting fire to harden their craft, of builders placing torches so travelers could walk safe. The flame teaches that nothing lasting is made in haste. It teaches that to create, mortals must endure. The gods listened, his words striking deep like iron. The flame of Olympus is not a gift to admire. It is a trust to be shared. No one, god nor mortal, can hold it alone. It must be forged in unity. Like a wheel needs all its spokes. As a song needs many notes, a city many hands. He looked at each god in turn. Zeus, thunder is mighty, but cannot shape without guidance. Hera, guardianship is strong, but cannot endure without support. Athena, Wisdom must meet craft. Apollo, song must meet labor. Artemis, shadow must meet light. Even Poseidon's waves need ships built by flame. The fire unites us all as it unites mortals. Hephaestus, step closer to the eternal flame. If we guard it with pride alone, it will falter. But if we guard it together, it will endure beyond us. He struck the floor with his hammer, not in anger, but rhythm. Each strike echoed like a forge, the flame flickering in time. The gods felt not fear, but resolve. Hephaestus smiled, faintly, rare as dawn. The flame's power is not fire itself. It is what fire creates when hands and hearts unite. It is the bridge between gods and mortals, dream and deed. Silence followed, not doubt, but understanding. The flame glowed warm and golden, like the heart of a forge. Shadows stood firm, shaped by light and labor. The council saw another truth of the flame. It was not only power, joy, wisdom, or constancy. It was the forge of unity, strength in every gift. Olympus itself felt steadier, held by one enduring fire. The Council of Olympus grew silent. Each god had spoken, but one voice was missing. Hestia sat by the fire, calm and steady, her hands tending the flame with quiet care. She never rushed, never sought glory, never raised her voice above others. When all eyes turned to her, she rose. The flame brightened as if greeting her presence. "My family," she began softly, "you spoke of thunder, wisdom, storms, music, shadows, and unity. Each truth is part of the flame. But the flame is not only power or song or work, it is home." The gods listened, their greatness humbled by her gentleness. She spoke of mortals gathering at night, farmers, children, families warmed by the hearth. She told of bread shared, laughter rising, comfort found in a simple fire's glow. The flame, she said, is belonging. It keeps mortals safe, together, and loved. She looked to Hera. "You guard families, but the flame gives them joy within." To Zeus, "You rule the sky, but the flame rules the heart." To Athena, "Wisdom builds cities, but the flame builds homes." To Poseidon, "The seas carry mortals far, but the flame welcomes them back." To Apollo and Artemis, "Your light guides heavens, but the flame guides every hearth." To Hephaestus, "Your forge creates wonders, but the hearth sustains life." The flame glowed golden and steady, answering her care. "Without me," Hestia said, "Olympus would not fall from storms or silence, but from losing the hearth." The flame of Olympus is eternal because it is shared. It belongs not to me, not to you, but to every soul seeking warmth. The gods felt the truth settle deep within them. Zeus lowered his head. Hera's eyes softened. Apollo's lyre stilled. Artemis smiled faintly. Poseidon's storm eased. Hephaestus lowered his hammer. Even Hermes, restless as ever, grew quiet. Hestia knelt, whispering love to the flame. It answered not with thunder or brilliance, but with a steady, eternal glow. The council saw the truth. The flame was not a prize, nor a weapon, nor a mystery. It was home, for gods, for mortals, for all. The council rose together, not divided, but as one. The flame shone brighter, promising that where there is hearth, there is hope. From thunder to hearth, from storm to song, from forge to shadow, all was complete. The flame of Olympus was eternal, not because it burned in marble halls, but because it lived in every heart. And in that truth, Olympus found peace.